Your tax attorney might be making your IRS problems worse. Here are 5 red flags that mean it's time to fire them and find someone new. I'm Andrew Bosserman. I'm a former IRS agent and current IRS dispute attorney who founded Boss Tax Law. Welcome back to my channel, and if you're dealing with a serious tax issue, having the right professional in your corner can oftentimes mean the difference between resolving your case successfully and smoothly or watching it spiral out of control into disaster. Here's the thing, not every professional relationship works out, especially when the stakes are this high, as they often are with IRS disputes. Oftentimes, the person you hired to help you can actually hold you back. So in today's video, I'm going to break down 5 clear signs that your tax attorney isn't cutting it and why switching mid-case, despite the hassle, might be the best decision you can make. So let's just dive right in and get on to the first one. So sign number 1, they're missing deadlines. Tax deadlines aren't just suggestions, they're hard stops. And if your attorney is regularly submitting documents late or failing to respond to IRS notices on time, you could be in serious trouble. Missing a deadline can mean you lose the ability to appeal a decision, dispute an IRS assessment, or secure some type of payment or penalty relief. And these aren't just minor inconveniences. They can oftentimes fundamentally change the outcome of your case. For example, take the 90-day deadline after receiving a notice of deficiency. You have 90 days to petition tax court so you can challenge the IRS's assessment in tax court. But miss that 90-day deadline and you could be stuck with whatever the IRS assessed against you, and the only way to challenge it in court is to pay what the IRS says you owe, which could be hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars, and then you'd have to sue the IRS for a refund. And that could essentially mean game over for you if you can't come up with the funds to pay it. So if your attorney has missed one critical deadline, that's a major warning sign. If it's happening repeatedly, it's definitely time to find someone who treats your deadlines like they matter, because they absolutely do. Warning sign number 2, communication is terrible. You shouldn't be left in the dark about your own tax case. If your attorney doesn't do things like return your calls timely, rarely provides updates, or can't explain what's actually happening in language you understand, something's wrong. After all, dealing with the IRS involves your financial future. You deserve to know what's going on, what strategies are being used, and what the next steps are. If your attorney is ghosting you or being vague about, what they do when you are able to connect with them, they're probably not prioritizing your case. A good tax attorney will keep you in the loop with regular updates, responds to your questions promptly, and explains key decisions in clear terms you can understand. They make you feel informed, not confused or ignored. So if you're constantly wondering what's happening with your case, or if getting a straight answer feels impossible or difficult, that's a clear sign you need someone who actually communicates timely and communicates well. Warning sign number 3. Their strategy is all wrong. There are 2 strategy issues to watch for. Either your attorney is way too aggressive, and the signs of this are they're probably picking unnecessary fights with the IRS, or they're not strategic enough and are just winging it. Some attorneys take a combative approach that oftentimes creates more problems than it solves. They're confrontational, difficult to work with from the IRS's perspective, and they oftentimes end up bringing more scrutiny to your case. And here's the reality, a little professionalism and human decency goes a long way with the IRS. If your attorney can't provide that, you're oftentimes working against yourself. On the flip side of the over-aggressive issue, if your attorney doesn't seem to have a clear plan or can't articulate their strategy, or their approach isn't leading to any progress, that's equally concerning. So here's what you want to do when you're evaluating attorneys. If during your initial consultation and throughout your case, pay attention to how your attorney approaches the IRS. Are they professional, strategic? Do they have a clear plan? If the answer is no, it's probably time to get a second opinion. Warning sign number 4, they lack experience with your specific issue. So tax law is incredibly complex and specialized. Not all tax attorneys handle all types of cases. If your attorney doesn't have real experience with your specific issue, you might not be getting the best representation. And specialized issues we could be talking about are things like international tax reporting, payroll tax disputes, penalty abatement cases, audit appeals, or IRS collection matters. Each of these requires specialized knowledge on how the IRS works and the law involved in each situation. Sometimes you can screen for this before hiring someone, but other times new issues come up after they've started working on your case. Or it's possible they could even exaggerate their experience during the initial consultation. So if you discover your attorney is out of their depth, don't stick with them out of loyalty or because switching seems hard. Find someone with a proven track record in cases like yours, or who can actually explain how they will handle your specific issue. Sometimes if an attorney is inexperienced, maybe they will partner with an experienced attorney. That's perfectly fine and oftentimes works out great in cases. But having the right expertise on your side can completely change your outcome. Warning sign number 5, you just don't get along. This one might seem soft, but it's actually pretty critical. If you dread talking to your attorney, feel misunderstood, or find it hard to get in touch with them, the relationship just isn't working. Good representation requires mutual trust and clear communication. You need to feel comfortable being completely honest with your attorney. If you're holding back information because you don't trust them or because the relationship feels adversarial, that hurts your case. Because you need someone who's actually on your side. Someone that's a good listener, responds appropriately to your concerns, and makes you feel supported rather than adding to the stress of dealing with an IRS issue. Dealing with the IRS is already stressful enough. You shouldn't have another person to disagree with. If the relationship feels wrong, trust your gut. The right attorney can make the process so much easier. So let's recap those 5 signs again. Number 1, they're missing critical deadlines. Number 2, communication is poor or non-existent. Number 3, their strategy is either too aggressive or ineffective. Number 4, they lack experience with your specific tax issue. And number 5, you don't get along or just can't build trust. Look, I get it. Switching attorneys mid-case is a hassle. Nobody wants to do it, but here's actually what's worse. Staying with someone who's not serving you well and watch your case fall apart, which oftentimes leads to you owing tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS. So if you're seeing one or more of these red flags, it's time to get a second opinion. Interview other tax attorneys, ask about their experience with cases like yours, and pay attention to how they communicate and whether they seem like someone you can work with. Oftentimes, it's these interpersonal and soft skills that make all the difference. An attorney can know the law back and forth, but if they can't communicate effectively with the IRS, all that knowledge doesn't really matter. The right tax attorney can transform what feels like an impossible situation into something manageable. They bring expertise, strategy, the ability to navigate complex IRS procedures, but the wrong one oftentimes just makes everything worse. So in IRS disputes, you deserve representation that represents you well and you can work with, and don't settle for less. So thanks so much for watching this video and checking out my channel. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you want to learn more about handling IRS disputes. And if you ever have a tax issue or want a second opinion on your case, feel free to reach out. And thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.